This is the If Movement podcast. Today's episode is about starting the process. What process, Rebecca?
Starting the process to starting over, starting from turning the page, your next chapter.
What was the previous chapter like that would make you want to go to the next?
Oof. Generally speaking, it is a chapter where you're like, I cannot go on in this way anymore.
And that could be like in a relationship or a job or in a state of mind that you're in.
Like it no longer serves you. It no longer is beneficial to you or your family or your person or yourself. First and foremost, yourself. Um, they're just like in a job, sometimes in a position that you're in, it's the highest position you can go, and that's it. There's nowhere else to go from there. You will either be in customer service the rest of your career, or you leave and become a supervisor.
It's time to move.
Mm-hmm.
For you personally, what does it feel like emotionally or mentally when you know that it's time to move? Time to make a move.
I'm frustrated. I feel everything is closing in on me, and I feel like I've made every possible scenario work out as best as I could. And I guess I do that because I know what it's like to be smashed in the season that I was supposed to be no longer in, but I made myself stay thinking that I'm a ride or die this, and I would die.
Die, you will.
Yeah, mentally, emotionally, spiritually speaking. I remember one time it was one of those seasons where it's like my faith was being very much stretched, and listening to God's voice was what I was actually learning. I was learning God's voice instead of my leader's voice.
Hmm.
And I remember the Lord said, because I was like, I was told if I take care of God's people, then God will take care of me. And I was told if I take care of the church, then God will take care of me. And I was told all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, God, I'm taking care of, like, I'm not even complaining except for I just gave all this stuff. Like, and like, where you at? Like, you were supposed to take care of me. And he said, but I didn't tell you to do that.
Mm.
And I was kind of like, well, no, yeah, you did. Because if I'm listening to my leaders, you're speaking to them. And he's like, but I didn't tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not tell you to give all of that money. I did not tell you to give your rent money. I did not tell you to that's squandering what I already gave you to provide for what you're actually needing. You squandered it because you listened to somebody else and not me.
Mm-hmm.
But girl, no one can tell. You tell me that I wasn't listening to my leader. And I was like, nope, because I'm listening to the Lord. My leader said this. I didn't do it all the time. But in this, I was like very much religiously like, I'm listening to my leader because what the leader says goes. And God's like, that is not me though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a good indicator too, even in that situation, is like you have exhausted yourself doing all that you can, trying all of the self-help tips, trying to work on yourself as much as possible, doing everything right or according to a book you read or your leader or whatever advice you're taking. You've tried it all and you still feel like you end up back at the same place where you are unhappy, or you are depressed, or you just are not at peace in wherever it is that you are at. And so it's kind of a good indicator that it's time to turn the page. It's time to start the process.
Hmm.
So how hard is it, or was it for you, to make that first step of starting the process?
The first step for me was actually realizing that there was no more space. Like I had outgrown, it was either become numb, die in my emotions, my dreams. And once I was able to realize that that's all that was left, I decided to go through the process of, because if you chose to be the ride or die in a friendship, a relationship, partnership, workship, you get to this place where you're like, if I stay, I will become numb. And then every day just becomes another day. There's nothing beneficial for that day. There's just going through the motions. Let me get to the bed. Let me get up. Let me feed the kids. Let me
Very much
clock in.
routine.
Yeah, the routine just becomes it. There's nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
You become numb. Or you're the ride or die, like you will die in this situationship. It will cost you your mental, your spiritual, your health, your well being, even food. Like you will become like you're eating stuff that you shouldn't be eating just because it's satisfying the craving that you're having. Like it just becomes a hot
It
mess.
becomes unhealthy in all the
It
ways.
becomes unhealthy in all the ways. Yes, that's perfectly said. And so for me and personally, I was there. And so I honestly wanted my kids to just see something better.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was like the animals was for me to, I want my kids to see something better. I don't even know what it looked like. I just wanted it to be better.
Yeah, it's scary because sometimes starting the process means starting something completely new, something foreign, starting over. It can be scary.
Yeah. After you make this decision, your body begins to get out of fight or flight mode
Mm.
or stay in fight or flight mode. But like for me, when I made the decision, my body just was like so exhausted. I was so tired of fighting. I didn't even realize it because I was just, every day was a fight. Every day, get out of bed, do this, do that. Routine, routine, routine.
Yeah, like once you made the decision to start the process, you kind of like got to exhale a little bit and feel a little bit less of the pressure, the weight of the moment that you were in, the thing that you were going through.
Yeah. And also, like when you're in this before you start the process, sometimes you're failing, like you're bleeding out because you're just going. You're just going with the broken ambitions, broken dreams, broken, like you're bleeding out, and that affects other people too.
And the hard part, or the scary part about it too, is that there's like no blueprint for these things because, first of all, every situation is different and every person is different and every person's situation is different. So there's no right way, there's no um, blueprint or layout. There are some steps that you can, like you can recognize the emotions of what it feels like to know when to start over, and to, like you said, you felt relief once you made the choice. Even though it was still hectic, there was nothing easy about it, but there was still a sense of release, and you were able to exhale and breathe a little bit easier because you did start the process. So there are indicators that can help you guide you along the way. And if you listen to your intuition, if you listen to your body, but there is no perfect plan, there's no blueprint. You're going to make mistakes.
Hmm. I would say also if there's a plan, make sure it's in pencil because you'll need to erase sometimes what you think and how you expect it to go. You know, I when I was younger, I wanted to be a teacher or a counselor, therapist of some sort. And my mama always told me that I would be a lawyer because I could argue like nobody's business, except for that's a lot of education that you need there. So I was at a call center and I felt like I could do this call center. I wasn't the best at the call center, um, but I was good at it and I liked the customer service, talking to different people, all walks of life, the things that we were selling and doing. And I, then one day, like 6 years later, it was over. Like it was completely done. And I was like, I don't even know what is next. And I remember I had some really great coworkers. Like it was really, really good. I still communicate with some of them to this day. And that was
Mhm.
years and years ago. But they're like, this is not the end. Like you're gonna do something. And I just could not believe it because this is my income. I was the main income provider at this moment. And I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And then I became a teacher. And I absolutely loved that job, that ability, that career, being with the students, not the politics of it, but I loved what I did. And had my job at the call center ended the way it did, I would not even have saw that I could become the teacher.
Mm.
Hence, to go on and move on to the passion of mine.
That's a good point. Sometimes the decision is made for you to start over. It's not yours. You're pushed into that choice and you have to figure out what to do for where to go from there.
Yeah, it's like the universe is like, yeah, no, you're done. Like you've stayed here longer than you needed to stay. I think also understanding, so turning the page once you make that decision, learning to put yourself first and understanding sometimes, even in a relationship, like sometimes as good as it is, the relationship, it might not be your person.
Mm.
And when you know, like because you've put boundaries for yourself, boundaries on how far you'll let somebody treat you or go, or what you will accept and not accept in a reasonable manner, then you're able to use that as a guide. Like, yeah, I want a partner that's, let's say, partnership for instance. I want a partner that's going to be with me and build with me and be in front, be behind me, be on the side of me, and we can all take all these sides for one another. No one's better than the other. We just work in our spots and our power spots and we mesh well together. But maybe this person's gone like 3 weeks and you're only there for a week with each other. Is that what you want?
Mm.
Maybe this person is traveling consistently. Is that what you want? Do you want to travel all the time? Are you really a homebody? Do you like to be with your family? Or do you have kids and maybe they're not like kid friendly, like, but they're really cool people? It doesn't mean that they're horrible. So choosing yourself first and putting boundaries also helps you make that decision easier, not like, oh, they're really cool and we have so much in common,
Mm.
you know?
Whatever you are turning the page on isn't always some, terrible situation. Sometimes it's not so bad,
Mm-mm.
but it's still not for you.
Yeah, it's still not for you.
Yeah.
And you don't need to go get all messed up. And again, when people say like, oh, I'm with you till the wheels fall off, not me. I am not her. I used to be, and I've died a couple times. But graciously, I've come back and been like, oh, okay, that was not good. I don't want nobody to go through that either. So, and that's me dying emotionally and spiritually, mentally. Like I just gave up. Whatever my happiness was in this person, my
Mm.
happiness was in this situation, my worth was in this situation. And if it was terrible, then I felt terrible versus understanding my worth. And yeah, that just didn't work out.
Hmm. That's important. Not holding things or people or situation, jobs, whatever, so tightly that if it were to leave you or be taken from you, it would mean the end of your world. And that doesn't mean, don't care about it or don't place importance on it, but I think it's wise to not hold anything too tightly in a way where, like I said, like your world is over if that person stops talking to you or you get fired from that job, because there's always there's always something more. There's always something else. There's always a page to be turned. Your life isn't over just because that person, ghosted you or whatever the heck.
Yeah. I've talked to people that have been in working for over 25 years in this same position.
Hmm.
And, you know, seeing them flourishing, doing something different is beautiful. They could do this like the back of their hand because they've been doing it every single day, 5 days a week for 20 plus years, the
Long
same
time.
thing. Now, back in the day, it was like amazing for you to have 5 year, 10 year, 20 year. Um, you know, my grandfather worked for a company for over 40 years and it was beautiful, but
Hmm.
you get a watch or like it's not like this.
Yeah. Like you put everything into something,
Yeah.
but you're not given that same reciprocation from the company or the person or whatever situation it is.
Yeah. And so there's things that you can walk away with. There's hard skills that you've learned. There's um, soft skills that you've learned, even in a relationship. Like, you know, I've learned like being in a relationship that I was in, I loved the family of the person that I was with. Their family was wonderful. It was different than mine, and I love my family, but it was just different. And so you just get to learn different things, different skills. Like, oh, they cook like this. Oh, they use this seasoning. Oh, I love how they gathered together. Or my best friend, like you might all these things, but then one day there might be a moment where you do have to walk away for whatever reason, whether you're moving across the country because you got a really great position or it just didn't work out between you two. There's no need to have all, of course, and unless it's unhealthy, yes, but before it gets there, if you can
Hmm.
weave in that, like, oh, this is good for me, this is not good for me.
Yeah, like take the good out of every situation, learn what you can learn, and move on from the things that are negative for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't always have to be, you know, you left a relationship because it ended, it started to get bad and so you had to leave. But that doesn't mean that everything in that relationship was horrible. There could have been some really great times and memories and things that you learned together, did together that were great. And so you don't have to look back on those things and think like negative about them. They could be still positive memories for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still having to walk away. Like, there was a relationship potentially that was brewing, and it came to like the question, like, do we want this to go further? And one of us did, and one of us didn't. And I couldn't, my life was very intertwined. My children, my family, what I put like first in my priorities and values. And it was different from the other person when we came down to these particular topics.
Hmm.
And so, as hard as it was, we both decided to be friends and not pursue a relationship, but from more of a friendship. And, but I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes it's like, ugh, like but I thought that like you just didn't want to be with me, or there's it doesn't always feel good either. Like
Right.
I don't want to be like, yeah, you just make that decision and it's gonna be fine. It's
It's
sometimes,
hard.
yeah, sometimes it sucks and you're like, dang, I really like this person, or I really like this job. This job would have been, there's this one job, it was gonna pay like over 100 K per year, have childcare included. I could be hybrid, and I was like, this is the perfect job. Like, oh my gosh, interview went great. Somebody from the inside was referring me. I was like, oh, I'm in. It's a no brainer, and I didn't get the job, and I was like, oh, I. I killed the interview. Everything was good. Like, come on.
Yeah. I think that's also one of the hard parts is the disappointment of starting over, turning the page, because whether it's a job where you feel disappointed because you gave it your all, you tried your best, or a relationship where you put so much time and effort into something and it didn't work out for whatever reason, the disappointment of that can be a really difficult thing to um, deal with, to stare at, to reflect on, to heal from. How do you overcome disappointment?
I definitely, again, recommend having your tribe with you. So, or the confidant, your best friend, your mentor, because sometimes there's no real answer. They can't comfort you in the sense of like, you'll be better next time. Sometimes you don't want to hear that. You're just like disappointment, and you sit in that for a minute. Like, it's just disappointing that I didn't get it for whatever reason. And being able to snap back and be like, all right,
So feel it.
yeah, feel it. You don't have to run from it or like, it's going to be better. That's it. That's it. It just wasn't for
Yeah.
you.
Don't mask it or try to push it away or forget about it or party it away or whatever it is. You it's important to feel the disappointment because it's a real thing. It's an emotion that is not wrong to feel. Things
Right.
happen in life in this world that are disappointing, so it's okay to sit with that for a minute.
Yeah. And about this particular position, not so long after, mind you, this was like this position would have been so amazing, but not so long after, a lot of the people that would have been in my position, because this was like, I think it was statewide or worldwide or something like that. It was a big company, great company, great company. To this day, it's still a great company, but they had a lot of layoffs, which I would have been in that layoff later
Mm-hmm.
on. Hindsight,
Yeah.
but I still would have made good money at that time. So, yes, sit in that uncomfortable moment, only for a moment though. Don't harbor in it.
Mm-hmm.
Be feel it, the emotions, and because again, like you said, it's completely okay to feel those emotions. It's what you do with it after.
Yeah. And it doesn't always happen so neatly. Like you can feel the disappointment, you can sit with it, you can acknowledge it, process it, and then, months go by and then you can feel it all over again. Something might bring it up or and that's completely normal
Mm-hmm.
also. It's not
Yeah,
it's not always, you know, nicely packaged.
with the little bow on top.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No.
You have a poem in your poetry book, book 2, called I'll Start the Process. Talk a little bit about what that poem's about.
Mm. I'll start the process. It was understandably a very hard situation that I was in, and I was like, I'm here till the wheels fall off, but I was on the rims.
Mm,
My rims were showing, and there was no tires left. Like, it was all broken.
mm-hmm,
And I was thinking about my kids and thinking about the person that I absolutely loved and adored and held high, just understanding that it's done. Like, there's no more, we can't go no more. And understanding that, starting the process of letting the person go and then grieving that.
Mm,
It's a whole different process. Grieving a person that was still, I mean, it is still alive, but grieving the loss of the person I once knew,
mm,
the person I once was with this person,
mhm,
grieving the family dynamic, starting the process of allowing them to be who they are choosing to be and figuring out who I am now,
mm,
and going from there.
mhm.
And that's heartache and pain, to be able to feel those and then continue to go, which so many people have done that.
Where do you go from there?
You cry. Just, well, I mean, yeah, you cry. Um, Choosing yourself isn't always easy. Like, I definitely had hurtful moments. Like, my belief, I remember talking to God and I'm like, for my God and my belief, I was like, I did what you said. Like, I came and I did what you said. Like, I was here for it. I was in deep. There was no plan B for me. There was no plan C, D, E, F, G. It was plan A the whole time. And in a lot of areas, I would plan all the way to X, Z. Like, I had it all covered. I had my safety kit. I had my sewing kit. I got my CPR mask. I got like all the things.
Utensils in the
Yeah.
glove compartment.
I was planned. I had my extra clothes, my extracurricular, my church clothes, gardening. Like, I was all prepared except for this. I was like, there's no plan B. Like, we're in it and then we're dying. And that's it. That there's nothing
Mhm,
but to know that it was the end.
mm.
Like, starting the process of feeling that grief, of feeling that pain. I remember somebody was like, it's like childbirth. You're going to give birth to something new. And I couldn't comprehend it at that time. I was just kind of like, do not. It was a well respected person that said that to me, but I
You
was,
didn't want to hear it.
I did not want to hear it. But it was truly like giving birth. For those of you that have given birth before, it is a different type of pain. And definitely when you're starting the process of unlearning, being better for yourself, for your children, I would just encourage you, like, it does not feel good, but your support system can be there with you and help you. And if you don't have a support system, let's search for a support group, support system to help you get through these really hard times, because sometimes you're going to cry so much that your tears burn your eyes. It's almost like, girl, stop crying, but you just letting it out.
So, putting yourself first, understanding that sometimes things just have to end. Sometimes you just have to turn the page. Um, but it matters because if you don't, then you potentially can live a life where you're just numb and you're just going through the motions and you're just unhappy. So put yourself first. Your happiness matters. You matter. And it's worth it. It's worth all of the hard parts. It's worth all of the scary things that you're going to have to do and face, whether that be, backlash or yourself, getting to know yourself. Sometimes you don't even know who you are anymore after leaving a certain situation. Um, but it's worth it because then you come out the other end and you are living a life that you are um, satisfied with, that you are content living, that you're not miserable in.
You know, when it's time, when there's no place else for you to go, you've exhausted all resources, Turning the page is not easy, but it is worth it. Unlearning and beginning to do your healing journey, you might be the first in your family. Your family might not understand even what you're choosing to do because they're so used to ignoring the pain, ignoring the process, like they're just used to it. And so it looks different for you. Your support system can be very a lifeline for you,
Detrimental.
detrimental. And so I just want to say I'm proud of you for thinking about turning the page because that alone is a big deal.
Mm.
How you turn it, there's a lot, just like we were talking about earlier, like we don't have a blueprint for every situation. There's so many walks of just different ways to do it, walking, running, crawling.
Yeah. The way you do it is the right way for you.
Right, the way you do it is the right way. Now I will tell you, if you don't have people to anchor you, you can kind of go wilding out.
But it's okay to make mistakes
And it,
because you're gonna make mistakes.
yes, so the point for me saying that is it is okay to not be okay. It is never okay for you to be alone in your process of turning the page. Now, you'll have to go through things alone. You'll have to talk yourself through certain things, but to not be completely alone, like pushing everybody away, it's not the healthiest choice to make.
Yeah,
So,
like there will be moments where you have to feel things alone and process alone, but the whole thing shouldn't be you being alone.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. And if you're interested in reading the poem, this is Thoughts in Poetry Form, Book 2, that can be found on Amazon. Book 1 is also available. That's all I gotta say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
Bye.
Bye.